Yeah, welcome to the continuation of our class where we are talking about how to insert tables. In our previous class, we dealt with the various ways we can insert table to our Microsoft Word and also how to use the tables. Now, if you can remember, we imported some tables and we created this table together where we had 7 rows and 7 columns. Now the next task we need to do now is to move, replace, fill up these informations to our table, to this table we have here. How do we fill that information? I'm going to be making a comparison with it. Now for the first one, we have component. So that is what I will do here. I come here, I click on component. Once my cursor is moving, now to move between cells, these boxes here, these rectangular boxes here are called cells. This cell 1, this cell 2, this cell 3, cell 4, like that, so on till we get to the last cell here. Now to move between cells, either we use our tab. Let me on my on-screen keyboard to show you what is tab. Now this is our tab. Now you use this tab to move between cells, to the different cells, or you simply use your mouse to click on the cell you want to work on. That's the easiest way to do that. So I want to work on the cell 1 now, and I want to type component. Component, that is what is in this first document, component. Now the next one is years. These are their years. I will type each of these ones, but I will just copy these ones to fill up the gaps in it for the sake of time. And now the next thing we should copy or type here is general supplies and equipment. General supply and equipment. Okay, I want to type on general supply and equipment. General supply, general supplies and equipment. Now I purposely type these things like this so that it will get, I will have these red lines. I've taught you before the meaning of this red line and how to correct it. This line simply means that I didn't do the spellings well. So how do I correct it? I'm sure by now you must have known that, because you must have watched the previous video where I explained and taught this. You just right click and select the right spelling, which is supplies, and same thing applies to this, which is equipment. So we have general supplies and equipment. Now let me move on with the next one, training slash capacity. Let me type training slash capacity. That's training slash capacity. We move on to the next one. This one is monitoring. We have monitoring now. Then the other one is we have community mobilization. Community mobilization. Community mobilization. The next one you're writing is evaluation. Then the last one is total. Evaluation, and the last one is total of all the goods. So we have the component, general supplies, training, monitoring, community mobilization, evaluation, and total. So for the sake of time, I'm going to copy the just pick up the just pick them up and fill it. Although you can't copy directly from Excel to here because it will have a different thing. I want to show you something that you cannot copy directly because this Excel. You copy them by cells, by cells, by cells. Once this is done, I can use my quick access tool to either redo or undo. Now the undo is to go back, while the redo is to move forward. You can also do that by using a shortcut, which is Ctrl Z, or you can also use a shortcut for this one, which is Ctrl Y. Just want to show you that is what I did to go back to where I was. Okay, now I want to pick this information single by single, so we can be faster enough. So for this now, I have this. Then for the next one, I have this. I have 250. I have 250. I'm copying and pasting. Or we can still do the typing itself, but I'm not going to complete all of them. I just want to fill up the first two and the first three, so we can move on to the next thing we have in line. The first two. So let me this year 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, and total. So let me just type those ones out. We have here year 2000. I have year 2001. We have year. The Y arrow simply represent year 2002. We have year 2003. We also have year 2004, and this last one is total. So we can collect this. Like I've showed you how to bold, and that bold is to increase the size of your document. So this thing is bolded now, and I want to reduce it. I go to my home and click on bold. I see it's already selected here. What I do is just to click on it to remove it. Now it's no longer bolded, and if you can see from my font, this one is font 14, while these other ones are font 11 and font size is 11, while the font is carry break, while the font for this one is Times New Roman. So I want to change the font of these ones to have the same font with this other one. What do? I click on this one. I click on this plus sign here. This plus sign here give me access to highlight the whole table. Once I click on it, the whole table is highlighted. Now this thing moves out because is confused. It doesn't know the font or the font size to give the whole table, because we have mixed font and mixed font size. So you just have to go and give him a straight order that I want Times New Roman to apply to all the tables. Now I now come here and select this Times New Roman. It will now apply the font to all the tables. I come here also and tell you that you want it to have the font size to be 14. Are you seeing it? I change all the font size now to 14. That is how to do that. Now I want to fill up this the remaining informations before we move on. We have 390, 220. We have 390, 390.0, and we have 220, 202, I guess. Okay, 220, 22.0. Now this other one is, we have 420 and 170. We have 420.0. We also have 170.0. Now let me pick up the total for that. The total is 1450. The total is 1450.0. Now we now have the total for this. Now this is the first one, but for you, for your practice, you should make sure you fill up all the tables. This table, fill it up all, and also go back and calculate them with your calculators to see if the calculations are right. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to do some customizations on your table. Now this table is black. You can ask me, I want to format this table, like I've taught you how to what is formatting. So just to give color, make your text or your documents colorful. Now this document is black, I want to change it to red. Now if you want to change the whole document to red, like what you typed inside, the component, the year 2000 and all the rest, you just click on this plus. I've told you it will help you to highlight all your documents, and you come to font here, font color, and you choose red. Once you choose red, all your font changes to red. In case you don't want red, you want yellow, you can still come here and select yellow, whichever one you want. This is a shallow font color. Okay, let me choose blue. So my font now is blue. This is for the general table. So in case you want to just customize it to this first one, you hover your cursor on top here. I see my cursor is changing, pointing arrow down. It simply means that I want to select just the text or the documents or the letters in this column. Now this column, only this column is selected, so you can change the color of this column, the font size, the font color. You can bold it like I've done here. You can bold it. You can also change the font color or font size by selecting either of these ones here. You can change the font color here to, I want to change the font color to red. Sorry, I'm coming. I don't know why it's so. Like I was saying, you can change this to red. Click here, you choose red. Now have this one's red, this one's blue. You can also do that. You can also do that for a particular cell by just selecting the cell, selecting and highlighting is still the same thing. Like I've taught you how to highlight. Click on the mouse, hold it, and move it, and you just highlight it. Or you can come here and close your cursor here beneath this place. Now what it does that it will now, the arrow will be pointing upper, telling you that this cell is ready to be selected. Once you just click on once, the cell, only the cell will be selected, and you can now choose a color that you want to be added to the cell. Same thing applies to other columns by selecting each of them. Then to select rows, let me say I want to change this row to green. You want to change just this row to green. You can come here, you can simply do that by either you come down here. I see my cursor has changed, pointing this arrow now pointing to the right. So once it has changed, this arrow has changed this way. The next thing, you click once. Once you click one, it will now highlight this first cell, telling you that this cell now is ready to be changed. But what we want to do, we want to highlight the whole cell. Now what do? We don't click once, we double click. So once you double click, it will now select the whole cell, of which you can come here and change the color like I've showed you to green, of whichever color you want. That is how to do that. Now the newer color override the previous colors. Now the previous color we have here was red, but it was override by the green color. So that's it for our tables and how to format it, how to adjust our table. The next thing I want to talk about lastly is you can adjust your table by hovering your mouse here. I see my mouse has changed to this color here, this plus sign here, telling me that this I want to adjust my table. I can do this by adjusting my table. And if you look up here, the table has segments: segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, segment 4, segment 5, segment 6, segment 7. Each of these segments are all the columns that are applied. So for this one now is for this column, for this one is for this column. Same thing applies for the rows. If you come down here, you see segment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing applies for all of them. So once you want to adjust the size of anyone, maybe you're typing and want to type in, didn't enter, you can just come here, hover your mouse here, and once it's changed to red, you hold your mouse, press it and hold it, then move it down. It will now adjust. That is how to adjust your table. Same thing applies to the row. You want to adjust the row, you still hold it down, press it down, your left mouse button, your right mouse button, and pull it down. They still be adjusted. It start getting expanded. So that's it for tables. I'm sure by now you must have known how to adjust, modify, format, and customize your table. So next thing we do, we move on to the next topic at hand. Let me see the next topic. Having dealt with these tables, I want to try this table out. Although I will see it's part of your practice class, but still try this one out also. Now let's go back to the topic we have. Talk about how to insert tables. Now I want to talk about how to insert equations, but also equation and symbols. So let's move out to the drawing board. How to insert equations and symbols. Equations and symbols. So let's assume we want to insert equations here. We're using this document, this page. Want to insert equation. How do we do that? During the course of your writing or your typing, for the science student, basically anyone can add equations or your symbol. How do you add that? Simply go to your insert. Once you go to your insert, you move your mouse to the right end here. You see equations. I also see symbol. If you remember when I was telling you how to insert naira sign, I came here for symbols, where we use these small symbols to get our naira sign. So same thing for any symbol you want to use. The trademark sign, which is the arrow sign, you can get them here by trying on different font, which will give you different symbols. This is the art symbol. This is the dollar symbol, of which I've showed you also the naira symbol. This is the trademark sign. So you can get different symbols from here. Once you want to insert any symbol, just click on it once and click on insert. The symbol will be inserted. Likewise, for any symbol at all, the symbol will be inserted. That's how to insert symbols. That's basically for symbols. Now let's move on to equations, which is a more serious one. Equation. Now this is the tool for selecting equation. So once you come here, you see equations and you see a small triangular option here. Once you see any triangular option, it means there are other things that are embedded on this platform or tool, of which you can also utilize. So once you click on this equation, it will just give you the avenue to type your equation directly, thereby helping you to change the property to equations. Now you can see our property bar have changed to different equations symbols. Now this is for plus, minus, this for infinity. Now this for equal to, this for not equal to. Now these are the different symbols that we have here. This for cube root. Now we can also select other kind of symbols here, or other kind of customizations here. But for now, okay, this is how we can move into equations, and we can just click here once to start typing our equation. Maybe let me say s plus y, or s plus z. We have our s plus. Now I want to add a plus sign, plus y, and we have an equal to, equals to 5. Now we've added an equation here to this, that is This equation now can be used for any purpose, but let's assume we want to add x square, want to add a square to our x and a square to our y. How do we do that? That is when we now have to move over to other method of using the equation. Now, like I told you, we have different options here. We have the fraction option. Now this fraction option is to choose the type of fraction that we want. Now we have this stacked fraction. We also have a squared fraction. We also have a linear fraction, and we also have small fraction. So we can choose between these. Now this is our derivative, dy dx, and this is our delta. This is our partial y over partial x, and this is our popularly known pi. Now you can move on. This is the second other one, script. Now in this script you have a symbol for superscript. Like I told you, we want to apply a superscript to our x and y. This is the one of the symbol or two we are going to use. Y is for subscript, this is for subscript superscript, y is for left subscript superscript. Same thing applies to this one. These are their common places where they are applied. Let's say for instance we want to apply x square plus y square to be equals to 5. Now what I do is I click on this one here. Once I click on it, this thing I'm not turning to this kind of script. Now I have a big box here. You can see this first big box and a smaller one here. How do I change it so as I can type this x square plus y square to be equals to 5? Now the next thing I do is I move my mouse here on top of this first one here, which is this bigger one. I click on it once. Once I click on it, you now see that a small brown gray-like object covered is telling me that it is ready to be typed. Now that is where I will type my x. Now if you see my x now is typed, this means that I've typed the s and my s is the lower one, while the subscript now is now ready to type. I apply the same principle where I click on this upper one. It now changes. Once it changes, the cursor will stop blinking, and I type my 2. So now I now have x square, which that means we have achieved our aim of typing x square. Now how do we move out of this superscript? You simply move out of this superscript by using let me on my keyboard to show you how you do that. Now we are here. Now we want to move out of this superscript. Click on this next button here. It will now move your cursor down. If you watch the video back to see what actually happened there, it now move your cursor down, now telling me that I am now set to continue. Now the next thing I want to type is my plus sign. I add my plus sign. Now I want to type same thing for y. I want to type y square. How do I still do that? I go back to my script and select this first one. Now I do the same principle. Then I click on my y. I type my y. I click here up here too, and I type on 2. Now I now have s square plus y square. How do I move down? You apply the same principle by clicking your forward button, and it will move down. Then the next thing is for you to type equal to now 5. So basically now achieve this. Same thing applies if you want to add a cube. So if you want to add a cube, you just click, or you want to modify this into be x cube plus y cube, you click on this square here, click on it once, then you backspace. Now once you backspace, it's now highlighted telling you that you can now type whatever you want to type. And I type my 3. I change it to x cube plus y square to be equals to 5. Now the next one I want to show us is radicals. Now the radical comes in when you want to apply square roots. Also radical with degree, that is square root with degree, and so on. Now let's assume, for example, we want to calculate the popular mathematical equation, which is our quadratic formula minus b. Let me bring it down here. Sorry, let me delete this so we can. Let me delete it so we can move over to apply that principle. Okay, like I said, we want to try this out. This is our b square. Let me increase the font so you can see it, enjoy it very well. This are minus b square plus or minus square root of b square minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac all over 2a. So we want to see how we can apply this by using our equation symbols that I've showed you. First of all, we now see that this is a divided symbol. Now we have the top and the bottom with a divided portion. That means we have a fraction. Now we select a type of fraction. This is the first of fraction we have. You can see we now have the inner one and the lower one. Now in this lower inner one, that's when we now have our minus b. So I type my minus b. Now we now have this plus or minus, so I can choose the symbol here, plus or minus. Once I click on it here, it will be applied, plus or minus. Now I have this square root, then b squared minus 4ac. I now come to my radicals and select this square root here. You can see it. Now this square root is selected, telling me that I can type things inside here. But inside here, I have b squared. How do I do that? I still go back to my script. That's when we apply the superscript. And we can get the superscript from our script. And we apply this first superscript here. Click on it. It will be applied. Now I have the big one and the small one. I click on this big one where I will type my b, while click on this small one where I will type my square. So we've gotten this one now. We've gotten minus b plus or minus square root of b squared. But I want to, if you watch, our minus is down, it's not up. How do I move down? I've showed you before. You click on your forward arrow. I'm now down. I see my cursor is now blinking in full, and I apply my minus sign. I have it minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus. Now I want to apply my 4. I can now type a c. So to achieve the upper corner. Now I want to achieve this lower one. Just to click here and type 2a. So that's it, guys. That is simply how to use the equation sign and equation symbols. So you can do this practice for more purposes. Okay, let's try now. These triangle ones give you a pre-made option for already made equations that you can choose from. These are already made equations that you can choose from. This is an area of a circle. It's already typed already. You can just click it and it will be applied. This is it for here for area of circle. Now same thing applies for these other ones. Let's go to insert equation, apply for these other ones, and if you move down, you see get our quadratic equation. We have other practice that I've prepared some practice for you, but you can also try some of these equations out, how to arrange them and fix them up. For the purpose of practice class, you can try this one out. And see how you can form this equation yourself. That will give you an insight and also uplift you on how to form this equation. Now let's try it. After trying it out, if you didn't make any mistake, congratulations to you. Now let's try it together as a class. Now if you watch well, this is what we have. Now we have a bracket and an n on top. So how do we get a bracket and an n on top? What do? We now we try to come to our equation symbols. These are our equation symbols. Now try and get a part. These are other part that you can get. These are large separators, operators. These are brackets. That's the reason why I wanted to do this stuff, so I will show you how to use brackets. These are brackets. Then these are functions like sine and all the rest. These are some assets, how to use them, assets, and so on. Now we want to apply this bracket. Now we have a bracket here. We simply click on this bracket here. Now we have this bracket already made for us. Now how do we add this n on top? The first thing we do is we come back here. Okay, so our script. No, let's go back. If you understand, our bracket is up while our n is under. So what do we do? It's very basic. Let's do it the basic way or the easiest way. Just come and choose a script, use a superscript. Then inside this superscript, we will now apply our bracket sign. Now this is our bracket. Add my bracket. I click 1 plus s. Now I close my bracket. Now my bracket is now closed and I have a small one on top, which will now enable me to type my n. That is basically how to achieve that. And I move down to type my equal to. Now I want to apply my 1. Now apply my plus. Now I have a division here. What do? Since we have a division here, we now come to our fraction and choose a fraction. Now this is the fraction we want to use. I have two fractions here. Now the first one on top, I use my ns. I apply my ns. The second one here, I apply a 1 and question mark. Now apply 1 and a question mark. Now since we achieve this one, we want to move to the middle. Now I still use my forward button. Now what I want to apply is my plus. Apply my plus. Now the next thing I want to apply, now I have a division here. I still go back to my fraction and choose a division. Now I click on the upper division. Now I have n. Now this n, now I have a bracket. I open a bracket for it. I type my n minus 1. I close the bracket. Now I have s square here. That is when I choose a script, upper script. On this first one here, I type my s, while on the upper one I type my square. Now we have this thing here. Now this down one here, which is the down one, I click on that and add my this thing. I move my cursor forward and also apply my plus. Then I click on dot, 3 dots, or you can separate them. Once you click one, separate. So that's basically how to apply this. So guys, that is how to apply equations. We'll see you in the next